Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Connections with Cass podcast. My name is Cass, and I'm a psychic medium and spiritual coach here on this earth to help bridge the gap between the spirit world and the physical world. In today's episode of the Connections with Cass podcast, we are going to be talking about something that I very, very rarely speak about, and that would be politics and religion. This episode is a compilation of highlights from my TikTok live on September 9th, 2025, the day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There are no coincidences in this world, especially when you're channeling information from the divine. While I answer people's questions on TikTok lives often, as I've been going live for about a year now, several times a week, I rarely get into politics or religion. But on September 9th, I felt in my heart so strongly to keep talking about what we were talking about and to not change the subject, which was so unusual for me. And I even had comments that were saying, "You're really on a tangent today." And even through those comments, I felt so compelled to keep talking about tolerance within politics and religion. And so I encourage you to listen to this episode with an open mind and an open heart, and not necessarily what you should or shouldn't do in life, but as a divine message that came the day before our country changed dramatically. Hi, guys. If you're new here, my name is Cass. I'm a psychic medium and spiritual coach, and I come on here to help bridge the gap between the spirit world and the physical world. Thank you for the gifts as well. I think it's been like 5 days since I went live, maybe last Thursday. So I'm super happy to be back. And thank you all for joining. And I hope everybody had a good weekend. Did you guys experience anything with the full moon this weekend? Hi, Brooke. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Hi, Ash. Thank you for joining. Paula just came in. Ginger, thank you for the roses. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Donna. How are you? Rough day today. Maybe this will lighten it up. I hope so. Thank you guys for joining. I've been so exhausted and overwhelming. I think everybody's exhausted, huh? Everybody take a couple deep breaths. Today is also the 9/9 portal. So September 9th and actually 2025 adds up to be 9 as well. So it's a triple 9. And 9 in numerology is endings. It's funny because I was actually seeing 99 a lot yesterday, but 99 is ending. So for today, especially if you had those vivid dreams over the weekend, really pay attention. And I always say symbolically, everything that happens in your dream has meaning, but also how you felt in the dream and how you felt when you woke up is super important. So I learned so much from my dreams and what emotions I'm repressing based on the symbology of the dreams, but also like how I feel in the dream, because that's probably a feeling that I'm not acknowledging within myself in my waking life. And so I had a lot of those this weekend. But whatever your dreams taught you this weekend, letting go of that, really turning a new page and setting the intention to drop all the stuff that's not serving you and move forward. We always talk about this in different times in astrology, but the 9/9 portal is especially important because it really is the finishing portal, the endings. So if you intentionally let go of what's not serving you, write it down tonight. Even go sit outside and look at the moon and write down a couple of ways that you process things that don't serve you, or vices that don't serve you, or anything that just is, distracting you from living your best life and or holding you back from living your best life. And it's nothing external. It doesn't have to be like, well, this person in my life. Just look at yourself. Take a good hard look at yourself. What can I let go of to live a better life? And write it down and set the intention and do a little connecting. The only thing that we have is right now. And even if you didn't make the best decisions in the past, you have the power to change your whole trajectory of life in the moment. And all of your loved ones here and past will appreciate your shift into a lighter and brighter future. I love to remind people that their past loved ones are still very much with them and that they are living life with us every single moment of every day. Just because they don't have a physical body does not mean that they're gone at all. If anything, they're actually more present in our lives. It's just that our human minds can't conceptualize that. They see us exactly as we are and help us energetically and nudge us in certain directions to go to the store at this certain time where the song is playing that they dance with you at their wedding, or everything I say is for a reason. So that was for somebody here. And they're just utilizing our energetic senses instead of our physical senses. So it's just important to start to tune in and recognize that there is more to life and utilize our energetic senses instead of our physical senses in order to connect with them. And trust that there is a higher power, there is a universe, there is a God source creator where this is all happening for a reason. And there's a frequency of love that exists beyond ourselves. It's within ourselves, but our soul is attached to this higher frequency of love and light that includes our past loved ones, our angels, and our guides. And when we can actually tune into that energy and listen to it, and that's our intuition, and trust it, we can be led in the directions that really help us live the best life possible. What happens is that our ego and our mind gets in the way, and our vices and our anger, our resentment, our fear, and all of those things get in the way from us listening to our intuition, to listening to our past loved ones, to listening to this higher power. And we feel very alone because we are alone. We're battling ourselves in our mind. That's the only thing we battle in this life is ourselves, especially as adults. As kids, we're kind of subject to things that are outside our control. But as adults, the only thing that we are battling is our own mind. Other people might play certain roles in our lives, but truly, like, we are battling our own mind. If somebody is not serving us in our lives, there is like infinite possibilities of choices that we can make to make our lives better. And so when we're experiencing things that feel like aren't serving us, we have so much power and so much ability to find the light in the situation, to come into our power, to transmute that darkness, and also to make choices that lead us to our highest good. And we just lose sight of it when we're battling with our own minds all of the time. And that's why I just feel like it's so important to go into the darkness and transmute it into the light and do the shadow work, do the inner child healing, and really commit to living a better life. Get out of your mind. It's not about what you wear. It's not about your looks. It's not about any of the human stuff. It's not about how somebody judges you, how somebody perceives you. It's not about how somebody should treat you. It's about how connected you are to your true, true, true self, your soul that really came here to love and to share love and to share light without any conditions, without needing anything back in return, to just love. And it is so, so, so hard for us to love without conditions. And we put so many conditions on ourselves too. I don't know why this is coming to mind, but like the way we look, the way we show up in life, and like the way we show up just has to represent who we really are inside. That's when the rewards come. That's when the highest timeline for us unfolds. And it's just so important to honor who we really are and get to the bottom of it through the inner child healing and the shadow work and any healing modalities that feel right for you. For when I talk to people that are watching mediumship all the time, it's like, I want to talk to my past loved ones. I want to hear from them. I want to hear from them. But that doesn't create long lasting peace. That is a nice thing to be conscious of and to, utilize that energetic support as you move forward. But what really provides peace is having a really deep seated belief system of where your loved ones are and what kind of energy they're in and what kind of energy exists beyond this physical plane. Where will we go? How does this all work? I find that even when I connect with people, whether they were very religious or very spiritual, it doesn't matter. On the other side, it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter what you believe in. But if you feel a sense of peace and love in your heart for something greater than this physical world, I feel that from souls on the other side. And it really is like what we're here to do is to feel that love, feel that connection, and feel that peace in our heart every single moment of every day. And things are going to happen that shake us from that. But it is our job on this earth as humans to move beyond our human mind that takes us away from that and transmute all those dark thoughts into light, into connection, into love, and to feel that in our hearts. So it's much easier said than done. And I always get a weird feeling. Not always, but sometimes when I communicate these things as a human being, knowing that somebody like Ellen is going through some really difficult emotions. But from what I've been shown in my meditations, through my mediumship readings, from hearing other people have the same sort of ideologies, that is what I believe. And I will hope that it helps bring peace. I'm so curious today. I have a lot of questions for you guys. What do you believe in? Universe, source, God, creator? Not sure. Put it in the comments. I'm so curious. Auntie believes in God. Jets believes in God. Mike believes in universe. Jen believes in the universe. Bella, universe. Higher power. Source creator. Okay. God. God source. Universe. God, 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 God. God, but not religion. God, universe. More God than I expected. Universe and higher power, Rachel says. Interesting. I always called it the universe my whole entire spiritual awakening. I also called it the divine. actually, for a while. When I first early started, I did resonate with God, but I never really called it God. It was more a higher power or the divine. And lately, I guess it's just I think of it more as a single entity. It's not. I feel like there's two parts of it, right? Where there's this energy of unconditional love and light. But that's hard for me to conceptualize in a grand scheme. Like beyond this earth, everything is just love. And if I don't even have a reference for unconditional love, which is hard as a human to have, I didn't find that reference for unconditional love until I actually started doing mediumship and I felt the love, the energy, like the love from them in my heart. And that's kind of like, I think, probably where I started to shift in my beliefs. Not beliefs. I have the same beliefs as I always had, but I guess what I call it. And so with universe, I felt like it was just more, number one, kind of removed from me. I felt like I existed in the universe, but not necessarily that the universe was inside of me, or I couldn't conceptualize that. And I dare say it's like a little bit colder. I guess, where there's like to feel loved by the universe. I don't know, it maybe it's just the words and the connotation I have for it, but to feel loved by the universe feels weird for me. It feels like getting love from a library. I don't know. It's like, yeah, the library has an energy, the library has books, it has knowledge, it has all of these things that we can tune into and learn from. But to feel the love from a library doesn't like it just didn't resonate. And so I do think of it as like the divine or God now, not in the religious sense necessarily, but an entity of light that is literally guiding me, that is emitting a frequency of love that I can tune into and that I know that my past loved ones are taken care of, that they're in a beautiful place, unconditional love and light. But what does that mean? It's like it means they feel loved every moment of every day in a way that we could hardly attain in this lifetime. Like, and it's just that has shifted for me. So I think of it as like a center of all that is light and love. And that is an entity, I guess, that energy is a part of me and creates this energetic experience throughout all realms and timelines and space that I still call the universe. Like that huge emission of energy from the source is universal light and energy. But the energy that I tune into or the quantum field, but the energy that a piece of me is always connected to in my heart space that literally guides me, nudges me, has created this experience for me. Source feels like impersonal, I guess. So yeah, I've tended to call it more God or a higher power, and or the divine for myself. You will resonate with some more than others based on how I resonate with mine. But if any of them cause anger in your heart, like if you hear God and it causes anger or a disbelief, that's something to work on because you're blocking some of that love from coming in. Hi Tracy, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Can they feel or see the negativity or sadness here or only love? Joy, that's a great question. They see the darkness, but they don't feel it like empathetically like we do. Because they also see that we are unconditional love and light. Like we are in the same frequency as them. We're just blocked by it from our minds and our physical bodies. And they know that this human experience is exactly that. Like we're supposed to move through it in order to find our light again. And so they recognize that we are love and light. And yeah, it's a little cloudy down here and but they don't feel bad for us because they know that's exactly why we're here. To move through it, to transmute it, to find our power and to find our light and to realize that we're not alone here at all, that we have a team of guidance in the form of angels, guides, loved ones, and all of the beings of light that help us along on our journeys. And I think that every religion, there's so many different religions, guys. And that's why I say if you are triggered by religion, if you are kind of like, oh my God, ew, or that can't be, I can take a lot of things from a lot of different religions, even Catholicism. Some of the most beautiful, every soul is beautiful, but I do feel on the other side, some of the most powerful souls, I would say, some of your parents that I'm sure you're here listening right now. I'm thinking of one father in particular and one mother in particular that I did readings for their kids were Catholic. And like, there's a difference between practicing religion and embodying religion. And I always feel a difference in my readings. I always feel if somebody did the practical steps of like going to church, praying in the morning, praying at night, like whatever, praying before they eat and and then I feel somebody who embodied it. And that person could have never gone to church. I can think of a grandfather that never went to church, but would see God in the trees, in the sunlight when he was on his farm. Now, I've also had souls that are extremely connected, but they do go to church every day. And so it doesn't matter if you practice or if you don't practice. It's all about the feeling within your heart. And if you have anger or disbelief or annoyance towards religion, you are blocking your acceptance of everybody's experience on this earth as divine beings of light that are here to experience what they're meant to, and you're blocking the ability for them to feel God in their heart. Like, I just feel like we should encourage everybody to open up to God, source, universe, creator in whatever way feels good for them. It's not about the practicing or the not practicing or what you believe in or what you don't believe in. It's about the feeling in your heart. And I feel like the same way about politics. We shouldn't be judging people for being Democrat or Republican. We shouldn't be ostracizing or compartmentalizing every single person for their views in a certain aspect, because that limits our ability to come together as one. That's the whole point of coming to Earth, from my understanding. And to achieve this high level of connection to your heart space can only be done when we are open to everybody getting in touch with this universe, getting in touch with this God, source, creator. And so really try to work on, if you are triggered by religion, that's something that's a part of your shadow that can really be worked on to help you feel the love in your heart from this higher power, this higher entity of light, this all-knowing universe, God, source, creator. There's bad corners of every world. I know, like, even like when we think about what happened in the churches, right? And we get angry about that. Think about hospitals. I worked in the healthcare industry for a year and in the billing department. Actually, they wouldn't let me be in the billing department because I questioned so much during the admissions process. And how they were like encouraging people to sign up for different insurances, and how we were treating different people differently based on the type of insurance they had. If the insurance paid more, I was asked to reach out to them more to see how their treatment was going, their dialysis treatment was going, than if this was a literal thing. My job was to form relationships with individuals who had private healthcare insurance because our company was being paid more by the insurance companies for the treatment, in specifically $2,000 per treatment 3 times a week. Anybody with end stage renal disease, anybody who needs dialysis can get on Medicare, even if you're not 65. So all of these individuals could have been on Medicare, but we were encouraged to keep relationships with them and also to encourage them to stay on their private health care plans. Then they created a fake kidney foundation where we would pay for their insurance premiums. If they got on Medicare and they ditched their private insurance, Medicare would pay $225 for the treatment 3 times a week. So the company went from getting paid $2,000 treatment to $225 a treatment. And they could get either Medicaid or a Plan B for Medicare. So the patient was hardly responsible for anything, if anything, to pay. Whereas with private healthcare insurance, as you guys know, it might cover 70% or 80%, and then typically you're required to self-pay the rest. Like, it was so corrupt. So people couldn't pay the premium. So they created this foundation that funneled in money from somewhere that paid for their premiums, but then we still billed them for the self-pay for the extra 20 or 30% that the insurance wasn't covered on a $2,000 treatment, which actually costs like $225 per the government. And so in that, I think that's one of the first places I learned that, like, I can't control what's happening in the world. I can't control this. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that, like, just doesn't make sense and is crazy. And the craziest part is if you didn't pay, so the billings department would call and say you owe $500 per treatment because your insurance only covers 65% of it or whatever. So they were required to self-pay the rest. So let's just say $200 three days a week. That's $600 a week that the patient would be required to pay because they're not on Medicare, because we want them to stay on this private health insurance. And if you didn't answer the phone, I think it was like 10 times or within like a 3-month period, they wrote it off and the money was just gone. If you answered the phone once, we would keep calling you forever. So if you picked up the phone at any time during those 3 months and just talked to somebody, you would stay on the call list. If you never answered, all the money would be written off and you wouldn't be responsible for it. It didn't go to collections, nothing. And so one of my friends would just tell people on the phone, like, hey, just don't answer the phone next time and it's just going to go away. And people would be like, it's just going to go away. It's like, yeah, because we're still making 600 to 2,000 is $1,200 more per treatment 3 times a week than we would if you were on Medicare. So stay on this and don't answer the phone. And it's just crazy. Like, this world is crazy. So whether it be the church doing things, I mean, that's a whole different element of things. But like there is corruption. There's corruption on both sides of the political spectrum. There's corruption in the food industry. There's corruption. The doctors are aware of this. The doctors are making money, but there's good doctors. And some of those good doctors with good hearts are the ones that are engaging in these activities. I don't think that every doctor that belonged to this particular dialysis company was affiliated with them was bad. And I think that some of the ones that knew what was going on and early diagnosed people with end-stage renal disease in order to get their coverage better, I don't think they're bad people. Like, we're all just here to experience. We don't have control over everything, and we just have to relax and honor ourselves and become the best version of ourselves and believe that everybody is going through what they're meant to learn, grow, and evolve, and try to make the world a better place in our own individual lives before we seek fear and judgment and all of those things externally to any aspect of life. Thank you guys all for joining. I just went on a little rant about healthcare and politics and religion, but it's important that we can talk about it in a safe place and recognize the full spectrum of being human and finding peace in a world that is not so peaceful. It's as peaceful as we make it. Ellen, the United States of corruption. So, really quick, when you say corruption in all caps like that, I feel the anger. I felt the anger. Prior to moving to Costa Rica in May, I felt so like I wanted to leave the country. I literally moved out of the country because I just didn't resonate with that, exactly what I just talked about with the healthcare stuff, right? Nothing crazy happened in Costa Rica. I was not really assimilated in the culture. The town that I lived in was super gentrified and a tourist town with nice boutiques and all the things. So it wasn't like being in Costa Rica was super jarring. However, I just had time to think. I didn't really know anybody there. So it was a month of just reset. The best thing I ever did for myself. But when you say United States of corruption, that incites anger within us. When I came back, I remember my dad picking me up at the airport. When I came back, I had such a new appreciation for America. There is something to be said about so many different cultures coming together and people having like the most free will out of anywhere in the world. There is the capacity to do so much bad in this country, as cited in the last story I told about the healthcare industry. But there's also the capacity to do so much good, and you have complete free will to tune into the good or tune into the bad. And when I came back from Costa Rica, I said in the car on the way back to the house, I said, I am so grateful to be in this melting pot of chaos because through darkness, the most light comes. And when you have other cultures, let's not even say Costa Rica, but a lot of cultures in Europe will have more of like a singular kind of religion or a singular kind of family culture where everybody gets together. Here, it's not like that. It's very individualized but it's dark and it's lonely at times where it's like you feel very separate from God, source, universe, creator, as well as like even extended family. Whereas when you see in other cultures, even families that have come to America, it's just different. And there's just so much room to explore here. And I feel that when we can take advantage of that freedom, true freedom, it's not freedom in the sense of everything politically lines up for us to feel safe. That's different. Freedom to truly be who you want to be. And it doesn't mean the job that you have or the things that you explore in life, but day to day, how you show up, how connected you are to your soul, how connected you are to a higher entity of light, how connected you are to all of the things that make us feel at peace and whole. It's all up to you. And this country provides you the opportunity to do that and the energy to do that. The energy in other countries is a bit, I would say, like constrictive. I've traveled a lot. And it's loving. It's not constrictive in a bad way, but here it's up to us to make the most of it. And anytime we have anger in our heart for anything we're experiencing, like the corruption, I used to be really angry about that story that I told about the healthcare company. I would get so angry. I would be livid when I got home at night. And years after that, I told that story and it was just like, can you believe this? Like disbelief. And now I'm just in awe, I guess, of how multiple things can be true at the same time and that there's so much gray area in life. And that can feel very powerless when we hear stories like that. But it actually gives me so much power to realize that I can live this life in the way that I want to and not be like that and not act like that. We are on quite the side quest, Alex says. Yes, we are, but it's important to talk about all things in life, especially the things that are triggering. I love talking about things that are triggering and finding peace within our soul's ability to navigate this human journey, because all of the human stuff is just as important as all of the spiritual stuff. I'm so angry at what's happening. Wish could move. Evil running. BLW, there's evil in every single country. There is evil in every single country. There is no country that does not have corruption and evil. And we can let it consume us, or we can make the most of our day to day life and be in the present moment. It's up to us to choose to disengage from what we don't have control over. I truly believe that. And that's just my personal opinion. I choose to spend that time bettering myself and sharing my light with you guys. Honestly, every once in a while, I'll pop on the news or read articles and stuff. And what I have control over, how to make this world a better place, is literally talking to you guys and to better my connection to spirit, to then share that light and love with you guys. And we waste a lot of time worrying about things that we don't have control over. And it's not to say you have to be completely removed and move to a homestead and just completely disengage from the internet and all the things. But truly, your day-to-day life and how you feel in your day-to-day life is up to you. So a couple weeks ago, this is the last thing I'll talk about, then I'll do a spirit-led reading. And take a deep breath, because literally, if you guys are getting, if the man that leads this country has popped into your brain and you automatically are like, it's something to work on, because we shouldn't be living in that state. That doesn't do any good for this country, for your own worlds, for your own reality. If you feel called to do activism work, absolutely get out there and do it, but don't do it with a place of hate in your heart. Do it with from a place of love in your heart. Even like posting things online or engaging in conversation, if you're doing it from a place of hate in your heart, that's not helping the situation. That's just feeding into the frequency of negativity. If you're doing it from a place of love and belief, absolutely. I mean, everything in life has issues. That's what we're kind of saying, right? Like, everything in life has issues. I get what you're saying, but he is causing so much violence and suffering. He's got to go. So, Amy, when we believe that we know what's best and the timeline that should happen, God's plan, source's plan, the energetic experience that we're meant to have in order to learn, grow, and evolve, that's where things can get really tricky. When we use our human minds and not a loving place in our heart to achieve balance in our lives, when we are leading out of fear and a need for a certain outcome to give us peace and to give us validation, and that goes for anything in life. When we need something external to happen in order for us to feel at peace or us to feel safe, we will never feel peace. We will never feel safe. And we truly don't know. And this is really hard for us. And it's hard for me to even say it, but we truly don't know what is meant to happen. Lauren says, it gives me hope, Lauren. I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're resonating with it, because it's hard for me to talk about, because it is highly triggering for people. And let me just answer this. So a couple weeks ago, I'm sure you guys are all on the mediums and psychics TikToks, right? How many of you saw people talking about Trump being not alive anymore? Please let me know in the comments. So I saw like several psychics saying that I knew this was going to happen at the end of August. And giddy excitement, literally giddy excitement. There were like newspaper articles, even Trump, sorry if that word triggers you. I'm not sorry if that word triggers you. Addressed it at one point, and he was like, yeah, everybody's saying that serious things had happened to me, because he wasn't seen for a few days. But a lot of psychics, and I had seen this maybe 2 or 3 weeks before he wasn't seen for those days, had been predicting that, I think it was August 27th, would be a major shift for him. And they predicted that he would pass and that the world would be lighter. I even read comments that were like, I felt in the middle of the night at 3:30 in the morning that everything had shifted and this world was lighter, and I knew this was going to happen. And again, when we need a specific outcome and we think with our minds that we know best and that nothing could get worse than what we have right now, the universe, source, God will meet you there. Will literally meet you there. And things are going to happen that are outside of our control to teach us. Everything that we're experiencing in our external reality is a mirror to bring to light the parts of us that need to be healed, the parts of us that need control outside of ourselves, the parts of us that don't feel peace in this human experience because we don't realize how supported and guided and protected we are. And as soon as people started predicting that, I knew that even if that was the current timeline, that it wasn't going to happen. Because just like when you guys need a reading here and your minds are so focused on that reading and that's the only thing that will find you peace, guess what happens? You don't get the spirit-led reading. I talk about this all the time. The more you relax and start to focus on yourself and form relationships with your own past loved ones during your days, and you let go of the need for me to bring them through, that's when they come through. And it's just like this. When we constrict the energy and place a sense of fear or a sense of needing something outside of ourselves to happen in order for us to find peace, that thing is not going to happen. And secondly, wishing that upon anyone is a very slippery slope. When we lead out of hate in our heart, that is not conducive to the evolution of our soul coming into a higher state of consciousness and a frequency of love that is truly what makes the world go round and what can shift this planet. And we lose sight of the power that we have. We have so much energetic power to make this world a better place. But we sit here and we read the news and we read all the negative stuff instead of doing things out of a loving place in our heart and making the best of this life. If the world's going to shit tomorrow, I want to have the best day today. And I say that a lot of times traumatic experiences lead us into the light. And I do feel that everything that's happening on this earth, and compared to other countries right now, the United States, is it in turmoil and not aligned to the frequency to which is a state of love? Absolutely. But there are other places in the world that are more misaligned, where the day-to-day life is much, much, much more difficult. So when we say it can't get any worse than this, you're kind of asking for it too, because we will experience that. We create our realities, truly. We create our energetic experiences. And I just try to make the most of my days and share the love and share the light in a place right now where that's not being shared. And I think that's due to both sides and our leader. Now, that being said, I think that another thing that I haven't made a post about it, but I would like to talk about at some point, but I need to gather my thoughts about it. The aspects of this leader that we have that people don't like, it's a mirror for us. Like, it truly is a mirror for us. He's egotistical. We are really triggered by that. I won't get into it too much now. Maybe we'll have like a whole separate live about it. But either way, just use this life as a mirror and use this life to bring joy to yourself and others, to bring love to yourself and others, to find peace in a chaotic space. And say these giddy psychics that are like, he's going to die, he's going to die. I need to be careful with what I say on TikTok. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to be the best day ever. How do we not know that happening in that way, that they, on that day, right? Let's just say the aliens come down, which could happen at any time. The aliens come down and take him out. I don't think that's going to happen with him. If anything, whatever. Aliens can come and do all sorts of things to this earth at any time. Like, we just have no idea. So Russia could do a crazy something. So what if it is that moment in time where he leaves this earth, August 27th, is actually the cue for Russia to do something crazy. And here we were wishing and wishing and wishing and wishing for a specific outcome that we know is going to be the best possible thing for us. And the universe is our teacher. And what we avoid, what we fear, what we put hate into will come back to us karmically. And that can be in very real time. And so when we say like it couldn't get any worse and things like that, just be very careful how much you are leading out of hate and versus love, and coming into balance with yourself and coming into a state of peace within yourself to experience life in the highest vibrational way possible in order to shift your reality and shift this earth's frequency. What a waste to sit there and watch all the negative stuff every day and sit in pain when you could be contributing energetically to healing yourself, healing the past, living in a lighter space, going and sharing love, going and experiencing nature, and just being a lighter and brighter version of yourself. Energetically, that shifts this planet and that shifts the evolution of your soul. This lifetime is not the end. So if you are thinking about this in terms of the evolution of your soul and coming into a higher state of consciousness, coming into a greater sense of peace and love for this lifetime, and to carry that with you for forever. Up until my spiritual awakening, I felt very like my choices didn't matter or how I spent my days didn't matter. But now I recognize that it matters more than anything in the world. How I spend my days. And it's not just talking on here to you guys. It's doing the work in order to have that random conversation at a gas station that then inspires somebody else or provides support or provides light to somebody else. It's doing the inner healing work to be the best version of yourself, to evolve your soul into a higher frequency, to live in a state of love and light and to truly be at peace with this human experience in order to take all of that beautiful learning and evolution with you as you go home to the spirit world or heaven with your past loved ones and with your angels and guides who are actually with us right now too. And who are constantly providing us experiences to help facilitate this, including you guys being here today and just listening about shadow work. Like I just encourage everybody to take the prompting, to take that inner feeling of fear, judgment, negativity, hatred, and turn it into something positive, because that is like the one thing that you have control over in this life and the one thing that can help yourself in this world. Everybody's in the country that they're in to experience life in the way that they're meant to experience. I actually always said that, like, I didn't feel like I was meant to be born in America, but this is exactly where I was supposed to be, to experience the darkness, to experience that job in healthcare, to see the way this world works, this world functions because of the energetic just experience here. And then to be able to transmute that darkness in the most powerful way that I can individually in order to share love and light as I move through this weird energetic experience. And everybody's, I feel like, is placed in the place that they're meant to be in order to learn, grow, and evolve. I truly feel that the greatest activism, I actually reposted a video about this a while back. The greatest activism that you can do is to not try to convince other people to vote for who you're voting for, or even to vote in general. It's to do the inner healing work so that when they go to the grocery store or they show up and help their neighbor, they're acting in a frequency of love. If you feel called to do activism, sure, great. Make sure you do it out of a place of love, not a need for an outcome, and not hatred. A place of love, belief, and purpose. And in addition to doing shadow work, inner child healing, and coming into a greater state of peace within yourself. Best of sunshine. What does it mean when you find the biggest change in yourself in church? Best of sunshine. That's how this all got started. Whether you're super religious and practice every day, whether you're super religious but you never go to church, whether you believe in spirituality and you're really connected and you don't practice whatever, or you have all the little things that you do in your spiritual journey, and you have the crystals and you have the sage and you're doing all the things, none of it matters. The only thing that matters, you can do any of those things. The only thing that matters is the feeling of love within your heart, period. Do you feel loved by something greater than this earth? Not by your past loved ones, but by something greater that creates this experience for our past loved ones to be in heaven and to be right here with us, for us to have this human experience and then to ascend into this beautiful place, for us to learn, grow, and evolve. That is what it's all about. Whatever avenue you take to get there, as long as you're leading with love and not fear or negativity, that is perfect. And through that connection, through that feeling of love in your heart, you can then receive the divine communication in a clearer way. And the divine communication being, messages from your spirit guides, your angels, and also telepathic communication from your past loved ones, and then picking up on the sign synchronicities and all the energetic nudges that our past loved ones can do to prove that they are still with us, very much so, every single moment of every day. So I was just driving around, like doing some errands the other day, and I noticed Justin Bieber had a new album out. Just bear with me, okay? Especially if you're not into Justin Bieber. I then get a text, like right as I'm listening to it. Guess who it's from? I don't know if Michael's still here, but moderator Mike, have you heard Justin Bieber's new album? I was like, that's crazy. I just put it on. So I'm driving and I scroll through the list of songs and I see Story of God. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And it's the last song on the new album. And it's him telling a story about Adam and Eve. And whether you're religious or not, if you have that anxiety about religion, it would definitely take an open mind. But I had it on loud driving and I was kind of in a meditative state. And I was like, I had so many downloads during that story. I was shook. I was like, how? I think I even cried at one point. Just the way he tells the story of Adam and Eve. Like in one of the downloads I got, he talks about death. And the only death that really exists is when we become separate or unaware of our connection to something greater. And I just encourage you all to listen to it with an open mind and really don't think of it in a religious or a biblical context, but that there could have been in the universe on Earth two prototypes of divine masculine and divine feminine. And when we came onto this 3-dimensional planet, we did know that we were connected to something greater. But then this opportunity, the tree of life or tree of wisdom with this beautiful fruit was there. The human side of us, our minds, took us to this fruit to eat that created separation. And it's just a profound experience. It's like 8 minutes long or something. Take a listen to it. You definitely have to have an open mind and an open heart when you listen to it. Like, you can't take it as facts and be like, that's not right. That's right. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. But it's profound, and he is channeling. He has to be. I don't know if he wrote it, but whoever wrote it channeled. And it's much more than just a biblical story. It's a story of how to breathe with this earth. Like, he talks about how the garden would literally breathe with Adam and Eve. As they took a breath in, they could feel the energy. And that's what I experience when I'm really in a connected and grounded state. That's how it feels. Everything feels connected to me and alive with me. But we can quickly be taken out of that and quickly move into fear, judgment, anger, and all of the things. So definitely take a listen. Have it on like in your earbuds, I would say, or like loud in the car, and like just lay there like headphones, and kind of meditate to it just to see if you get any, and open up to your guides and the universe, God, source, creator, and just be like, is there anything else I can receive from this story? Maybe it's a remembrance. And for me, it truly was a remembrance of not being separate. Like, I felt like I was taking back to even maybe another life where I was more connected from an early age or something like that. So just something to try. Maybe I'll do a post about this telling the whole world to listen, and then you guys will have to comment on that. I'll do that right after this. But thank you guys all for joining. If you're just coming in, my name is Cass. I'm a psychic medium and spiritual coach, and I come on here to help bridge the gap between the spirit world and the physical world. And I offer private readings at connectionswithcass.com. I just encourage you all to connect to something greater, feel at peace in this life through inner healing work. And I should be back tomorrow. All right. Thank you guys so much. And I will talk to you later.